I'm tried and I'm tested, I'm shining from lessons. You can only make diamonds from pressure. Since you put me on the Celestine prophecy, nothing here is stopping me. Consciously or bodily, low energy don't bother me. Love is my priority, so my vibrations 444 sonically. My brain working out, meditation, my cardio. They hid it from us in the books, you provided the audio.
Greetings, welcome to another episode of Mental Wealthness. I have a special guest with me here today, none other than the one and only David Butler. David, introduce yourself to the people.
What's going on, man? My name is David Butler. Some folks know me as Dave Has Wings, creative consultant, artist, entrepreneur.
Nice. Dave, where you from, man?
Born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Nice.
Outside of a couple years in Pontiac, Michigan. It's like 40 miles north of Detroit, but for the most part, Charlotte is home.
It's home, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode in particular is talking about Web3, NFTs, and creativity.
100%.
And I think where we are when it comes to technology, we're in a very interesting space.
Mm-hmm.
I think even particularly for Black creatives, it's an opportunity for us to tap into new word technology and use this technology to help propel us forward in our creative process, right?
Without a doubt.
When it comes down to Web3, give us your perspective on Web3 and where you see it today and then where you see it within the next 10 years.
Nah, for sure. So, I think it's very, very early right now. There's an opportunity for everybody to kind of, I feel like there's two trains of thought with this. Like Some people are like, oh, it's scary, I don't want to deal with it, it's too much to learn, like kind of all of the kind of excuses or the negative pieces of it. And then you have like the other thought process that's like completely all in, everything's digital, go right now. And I feel like we're in a very interesting space where there's going to be, in my opinion, probably 20 or 30 years before there's like mass adoption around like cryptocurrencies and things like that. So right now we're in an opportunity for everybody to take time to explore and kind of just invest in the space and get used to understanding the utility and what the technology actually is. I think as far as like 10 years from now, I think it presents a lot of opportunities in terms of decentralized finance and being able to have like a new financial system that isn't centered around kind of like
big banks,
central bankings, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, man, I think that's kind of the biggest thing. I just want to encourage everybody to kind of do a little bit of research and kind of dip their toe in the water and start to really understand the technology, not just kind of what you see on social media in terms of like the hype and, this collection and that collection or this coin and that coin, but really understand the technology that sits underneath these things. And if you approach it from that perspective, you'll be able to start to leverage it as a part of your personal ecosystem.
And how would you explain Web3 to a 5-year-old?
To a 5-year-old, that's a very interesting question. I would say, honestly, the 5-year-old probably understands Web3 a lot better than a lot of adults right now, to be honest.
That's true.
A lot of times, and that's the interesting thing, right? Like the generation that's coming behind us, they already understand a lot of this because they fundamentally operate this way.
Absolutely.
Right? They use V-Bucks to purchase skins, right? That's purchasing digital assets with a different type of currency. And a lot of times,
and the kids, and especially the kids that play Fortnite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They
100%.
understand. They understand Web3 better than anybody else.
Right. And I don't even know if it's necessarily just the concept of Web3 or they're thinking about it in the context of Web3.
They're just thinking about, I need to get this one. I know what I need to do to get better clothes on my avatar on Fortnite, so I'm going to do this.
Exactly.
So I'm going to use my birthday money. I'm going to import it into my wallet. I'm then going to exchange those funds for my tokens. I'm then going to use those tokens to buy the skins that I want.
Right.
And I think kids are so. This is like we was talking about a few days ago. Like kids are the best creators because they haven't gone through a life yet where they've had all this external input into their lives to where that makes them hesitant on doing the things that they want to do, right? So if they want to go outside and build something, they go out there, they gather up all the wood and blocks. Man, when me and my cousins were younger, man, we didn't have a dirt bike ramp. We used to fold paper plates to put on the wheel of the bike so it makes the dirt bike sound. And we get bricks and we get us some wood and we out there jumping ramps. But so to us, that's what we wanted to do. And we just went out there and we built it. And I think that's what's happening now in the creative process is that people are seeing, okay, when it flows down to NFTs, they're saying, okay, we know what this technology is. Let's just go out there and just do it and just kind of learn. learn along the way. Like,
No
how would
doubt.
you explain? Let's talk about the benefits of NFTs.
Yeah, no. And I think before we even jump into NFTs, I think it's really I want to always lean in and tell people to understand NFTs, you have to understand blockchain technology, and you have to be bought into the root of it, what allows for NFTs to exist, right? I think from a artist perspective, the benefit of NFTs is it allows for it's a certificate of ownership for a digital asset, right? So it denotes that on the blockchain, this digital asset is the original, right? Not a screenshot, not you had the file saved to your computer. It's denoted in this decentralized location on all of these computers, on these servers, that this is the original digital asset, and you're able to trade that for different other assets or currency on that blockchain.
Absolutely.
And specifically, the smart contracts are what's most advantageous to a lot of artists and creatives, because you can when you mint that work to the blockchain, you're able to go ahead and stipulate what you want your royalty to be on that digital asset. And anytime that digital asset is transferred for a certain amount of currency, any amount of currency, you get your percentage automatically. It's no ifs, ands, buts conversations. Ain't no lawyers, ain't no accountants, ain't none of that.
Yeah, and that's what's so unique about smart contracts, right?
100%.
Is that like you're building this into the blockchain. So let's say, for instance, like we have a picture of David as the NFT. Like in your smart contract, you can say something like, I want 25% royalty once this NFT is minted and sold and distributed over the next 5 to 10 or 20 times, right? And you can build that in, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You will receive your royalty because it's all in the chain.
Without a doubt.
It's all in the chain. And, I saw something very interesting lately. They said that NFT blockchain technology in the next 20 to 30 years can be the way that physical assets are also used, right? So they're now looking into the real estate market as being one of the first markets to where blockchain technology is used, because again, buying a home is very, very complicated, right? You have multiple attorneys, you have your real estate agent, you have the brokerage firm, you have all these different things. But imagine if you can go purchase a home strictly by buying the NFT or buying the smart contract to the home, and everything in regards to that is in the smart contract. So I found that very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, man. I think that's the part that everybody's kind of missing out on, is that
it's the tech.
The technology, can be used to bridge a lot of the gaps and to kind of deal with a lot of the social ills and injustices that we've dealt with, like historically IRL. You can leverage this technology to be able to help bridge some of those gaps and bridge some of those divides. So that's what I'm most interested in from an art perspective right now, while we're in this transitional period. A lot of the things that I'm looking into and the programs that I'm starting and all that kind of stuff is centered around that, right? Like, how do we leverage the technology to be able to bridge some of these gaps and create representation and more space in some of these spaces that we traditionally haven't been in from a creative and artistic perspective.
Nice.
So
nice. And you mentioning that, explain to us a little bit about your brand and company, Open Court.
Yeah, for sure. So Open Court actually exists underneath Analogue Luxury. Analogue Luxury is a brand that I have that houses all of my creative ideas. A lot of times people know it for merchandise, clothing, hats, that kind of thing. And it was really created to really just provide like opportunity for homies to support, right? Like, not everybody can pay $4,000, $5,000 for an art piece or something like that. But they could buy a coffee mug, or they could buy a T-shirt, or they could buy a hat, or a print, or a puzzle print, or something like that. That is, birthed with that same type of intention. So the brand was created for that purpose. And then Open Court, really, again, like I was talking about before, it just kind of flowed out of wanting to create some opportunity. In this time, I had an existing relationship with my gallerist, and I was trying to figure out, what could I do next to collaborate with them.
Right.
And it moved into me thinking about getting introduced to blockchain and NFTs while everybody was at home during the pandemic on Clubhouse. And I had some friends that were doing some things in the space already. And, it just kind of made sense for me to do what I could to kind of create an opportunity and leverage all of those things together, right? So it's Open Court specifically is a artist residency and a series of exhibitions where I'm working with art institutions in Charlotte to onboard Black artists onto the blockchain, and they'll also be a part of a Black arts district that exists in the Crypto Voxels metaverse.
Wow.
With my technology partner, One Off. It's fully funded by the Knight Foundation, so I'm able to pay all the artists that are participating, and man, I'm excited about it.
Wow. Okay. Now, and how do you foresee Analog Luxury in the next 5 years? What do you see you all have? What have you all grown to over the next 5 years, the long term?
Man, it's really, for me, I think it's just about staying creative. I'm blessed to own a creative agency and work that and do that full time. So it doesn't put me in a position where my art has to be the way that I make. It's not my primary source of income.
Right.
So I'm able to really let the creativity be the creativity.
Right.
So Analog Luxury is just going to continue to ebb and flow in that way, where it's just an additional way to express concepts, to get ideas off. And, I got a podcast that lives underneath it here and doing things that I record live once a month. So, yeah, man, it's just going to keep being there. It's just going to stay.
Absolutely.
Keep doing what it's been doing. Stay consistent, you know what I mean? And just be there to house all those creative ideas and all that creative intention.
Good. Now, I would call you, as knowing you, I would call you a natural creative, right? You create from the soul. It's something that you was born to do. It's something that you live every day. It's your career, right? Being a creative.
For sure.
Now, has being a creative always been easy for you?
Nah, and the crazy part is, man, it's funny that you say that because I feel like I've evolved into that because I'm much more innately a business guy.
Okay.
Like my business skills, my business acumen. I studied management at WSSU, and I felt like I took a 4-year vocabulary test. I was strictly like learning concepts and learning the proper words for things that felt natural.
Okay.
Right. So I feel like I'm an innate business guy. I always say I'm an innate business guy, but I earned my creativity because I was intent on leaning into the parts of culture that I was interested in, figuring out how they worked, figuring out how they were funded. And then I went and acquired the skills, right? Like, I had always been taking photos as a child from like a documentary perspective, like just kind of documenting life, sharing on social media. But, throughout my collegiate experience and after when I started my career as a young professional and moved back home, I started to really kind of lean in to figure out what it meant to be a creative and artist and create space for other creatives and artists as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, man, I think I'm kind of forgot what the question was.
Yeah,
for a second,
no. It was just talking mostly about you just being a natural creative. And
yeah, so it's a natural thing. That's what my bad. I'll cap it off. It's a natural thing, but it's it took some intention to switch my brain over to like go get that information and kind of pull those things out.
Now, did you experience any type of anxiety or fear whenever you were switching over from the traditional business role of Dave to doing creative full time?
I wouldn't necessarily say like I was definitely nervous about trying to figure it out. Okay. But I knew it was something that I was called to do. Okay. So I just did what I could to stay 10 toes, and I had a lot of support around that time. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily from family or anything like that. I don't think they quite understood it yet. They couldn't quite see it.
Right.
But I surrounded myself with like-minded individuals, creatives, creative entrepreneurs, and just kind of really leaned into a lot of resources and stuff I could find online as well to let me, it just let me know that I wasn't crazy for what I was chasing. It was just about creating the opportunity. So, I mean, there's definitely some stress there, but I know that like, anxiety a lot of times is thrown around a lot in culture and everybody kind of talks about it, and which is good, right? We should be having conversations about mental health, but I know that like myself personally, I'm not someone who had anxiety, right? Like I know people who actually have like diagnosed anxiety, which is something different than saying like I'm nervous or I have a lot of pressure on me and a lot of things like that. And I think a lot of times we need to kind of create those distinctions so that there's like just very, very clear lines of communication.
People,
exactly.
Yeah, there's respect for people who actually experience
those things.
Anxiety.
100%.
Right. So it's a difference from just being nervous, right, or having fear about something or worked up about doing something different versus actually like experiencing high-end, anxiety. And I agree 1,000%. And two, how would you, since this conversation is about NFTs, Web3, how would you say it's an individual that's at home, they've been watching YouTube videos, they've been talking to their friends about, starting an NFT. What are some of the first steps you would recommend for them to go through?
Well, I mean, first I would say, don't feel like you have to create a 10,000 image collection to sell, right? Like, I think especially for people who are business owners already, it can be as simple as offering your business or service and taking crypto as a form of payment.
Okay.
Keep it very simple, and a lot of the kind of like larger payment processors are starting to add kind of like add-ons and different plugins for you to be able to do that, right? And that's a way for you to be able to earn in the space instead of having to invest to get into the space. Okay. And I think that that's a fundamental principle that can be missed for a lot of people who are creatives. You make things, you do things. You should be worried about, from my perspective, in my opinion, you should be worried about earning in the space as opposed to trying to buy your way into the space, right? You should think about what is your ecosystem that you have built around your business or service. Who is the new customer that has already bought into crypto, so that you don't have to worry about onboarding your existing customers, right? There's a process of teaching someone to get a wallet, teaching someone what, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff is a process, and it takes away from you being able to operate your business.
Right.
So the goal should be, for a lot of folks, again, you already have a business infrastructure, or you already have an idea, or you already have something you're doing. Figure out how you can leverage that into earning crypto with that from people who are already bought into the space. And then in time, people will start to catch up and see, but you'll already have your system set up for it.
Nice.
And it's not a situation where you're like, you're trying to convert an entire customer base that has their own fears and worries and misunderstandings about it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like, go and start working with the people who already get it, right, and build community with those people who get it. Absolutely. And then in time, you can create pathways for people who are interested or want to come over. But I think, keep it simple. You know what I mean? Keep it simple. Don't feel like you got to go invest $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, find something cool. Find people who are, that aren't necessarily leading with money. Again, try and understand the technology. You know what I mean? Do some research on. A fundamental documentary I always recommend people watch is Banking on Bitcoin.
Okay.
Because it came out pre like all of this.
Okay.
Like all of the hype and everything like that. But it has like those really good blockchain fundamentals, and talks about the rise and fall in the beginning of the SEC starting to put, different restrictions and regulations in place for crypto.
Okay.
So it gives you a good foundation on, Bitcoin and how everything got started, which can then lead you to Ethereum and Solana and all these other types of things.
So betting on Bitcoin.
Yeah, banking on Bitcoin.
Banking on Bitcoin.
Banking
nice,
on Bitcoin.
Nice. And two, I know you explained with Open Court that you all were bringing in black creatives or bringing in creatives and onboarding them onto the blockchain. What blockchain are you all working on primarily?
It'll be Ethereum.
Ethereum.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And why do you all prefer Ethereum over another one?
So really, honestly, it was the first one that I found out about with NFTs, and then also
Ethereum is very strong.
Yeah, and it fits into what's already happening on Crypto Voxels with my technology partner, with One Off. So, just kind of where most of the community is for it right now. That's the basis of NFTs. I feel like it's a good basis, and there are a lot of other chains that are starting to pick up on NFTs, but they're still working out a lot of the kinks. And I feel like it's there's some marketplaces, and it gives you some options to work from. So it can be a little bit more easier from an onboarding perspective. But then again, like, I'm not in a position where like I'm telling the artists what they should be doing to a certain degree. I'm providing opportunity for them to explore, providing my perspective and things that I've learned over the last year and a half, the things that I've heard from the community that I've been a part of, from an NFT perspective, and allowing them to make their own decisions, because that's what the whole thing of it is about. That's what the whole residency is about.
Free flowing, open. Figure
it out. You know what I mean? Here's a base level of education and knowledge. Let's talk about your art, and let's think about how that translates digitally, right? Do you want to have a one-to-one replication? Do you want it to be an extension of your work? Do you want this one piece to lead to another piece that's completely different that's on the blockchain? All things for them to figure out and decide, and what you want to charge and which chain you want to charge on. Like, I'm not in control of any of that for the artists. They get to get educated and make their own decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Now, I know you mentioned also too, like, being a creative is kind of natural to you. You're a businessman first. You made the change over to being a full-time creative a little while ago. Now, how do you balance working full-time in creativity and managing your self-care as an individual?
Yeah, man, I think that's trying to build healthy habits. At the top of the year, I've done, just been more intentional. I started incorporating fitness into my lifestyle around the end of 2019.
Running? You been lifting, running?
Yeah. So I really shout out to Proud Fitness. I started off doing CrossFit. Yeah.
Nice.
And that that was intense, man.
He turned up,
but it was good. It was good to like help me incorporate fitness into my lifestyle and help me get everything. It was good to just kind of like jump into the deep end.
Right.
So I'm appreciative for it. But yeah, so over time I moved more into like calisthenics, range of motion stuff, flexibility, that kind of a thing. You know what I mean? With some light cardio, stretching, just kind of trying to stay mobile, bro. Getting in these 30s, just trying to stay mobile. So I've kind of gone from being in a space where I was wanting to pick up 10, 15 pounds lifting weights to now I just want to make sure I stay, I can move good.
Stay healthy.
What I mean? Stay healthy. You know what I mean? Yeah, keep my heart good, all that kind of stuff. So,
flexible.
Yeah, man, just trying to incorporate good habits. So, trying to hit the gym every morning, creating space to make sure I do a devotional, and create some time to just think before, trying to answer emails or do anything like that.
Nice.
And diet, bro. Like being able to make sure you're drinking enough water.
Yes.
Doing what I can to eat more grilled and fried. You know what I'm saying? Like those little things, man.
That's key.
Those little things right there, man. That's for me. That helps with the with the mental aspect as well as the physical aspect.
Nice.
Making sure it's all staying in line, and the spiritual aspect. Make sure it's all staying in line.
Right. So just surround yourself with balance.
100%.
One way I always like to look at my life is being organized mentally, physically, spiritually, and energy wise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always do a mental check off in my mind in those 4 areas. And I believe I fundamentally stand on those 4 areas that if an individual is balanced in mentally, physically, spiritually, and with their energy, you then can go out and achieve the things that you want to be able to achieve because you have that perfect balance and you have that perfect harmony.
No
right.
doubt.
So with this conversation around Web3 and NFTs, I think it's an ongoing conversation.
For sure.
I think individuals, like you said, we will want to harp on as we wrap this up, that the most important part about it is understanding the technology
Without a doubt.
that lies below the beautiful artwork or the beautiful images, right? You want to understand exactly what's going on with that and just continue to just learn.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, too, wanting people to understand that NFTs aren't just about art and creativity. Like, that's kind of where the conversation is starting. But, again, we're talking about digital assets as a whole. So as different concepts expand and as different opportunities come, when you talk about, digital real estate, you know what I mean, on different, decentralized or centralized platforms.
Like Sandbox.
When you talk about, Sandbox or what's the Roblox, or, what I mean, or any of those types of kind of platforms that exist, online or are digital first. NFTs is a piece of that puzzle, right? Mm-hmm. And again, it's not just going to be artwork and music. It's going to be, again, digital land. It's going to be, cars, clothes, like all of these different things that we already are used to paying for physically. Once again, as digital transformation starts to take place,
right?
NFTs is going to be a piece that allows for you to say, like, this is the original version of this, or this really came from this source or this creator, which is important because you want, creators and companies to get paid and credited for their work. And again, like, as you just want more people to be able to see value in the currency, the currencies that are going on, so that you can continue to create value and exchange value, whether it be through coins or providing a good or a service.
Yeah, and too, like I explained it. Somebody asked me, I think even my job asked me, like, break it down like in a very, very simple way. I said, imagine if you bought a Picasso and in imaginary words on the back of the Picasso, he wrote that this was the original. But not everybody knew that, right? You can then go and say, look at the Picasso, take the black light. This is the original copy. The other ones are not real. This is the original one. Just like with an NFT, you have a smart contract, and in the smart contract it said this is the original NFT. It's not a screenshot, and somebody uses it as their profile picture. Imagine if those imaginary words that you use with a black light floated around with that original painting, right? And then every owner of that painting had those words on the back of it, and no other paintings had that. You would then be able to tell that this is the original copy. And I said that's what happens with NFTs, right? You have it in the smart contract that this is the original, and that can be verified on the blockchain. So I think it brings a lot of security too to the exchange of just goods and services digitally. Yeah. And that's what people want. People want that security moving forward in their transactions. And I think this is a fruitful conversation, man. I think it's a conversation, like I said, it's ongoing. And so it's maybe part 2, part 3 moving forward. But I think it's essential for the community to learn about this technology so that we can use it for our benefit and so that we can bridge that wealth gap that we've had in America.
Yeah.
So kudos to you and everything that you're doing.
Appreciate it, bro.
With Analogue Luxury Open Court. Continue to grow and keep things booming. And,
Yes,
I'm going to be watching from afar, tapping in with you and your network so I can get into that too. And I'm definitely come and support.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on.
NFTs, Web3,
Yes, sir.
and creativity.
Was Oprah, you kick the vultures out the culture, it's La Cosa Nostra. The timing is better, I'm tried and I'm tested, I'm shining from lessons, you can only make diamonds from pressure. Since you put me on the Celestine prophecy, nothing here is stopping me, consciously or bodily, low energy don't bother me, love is my priority, so my vibrations 444, sonically, my brain working out, meditation, my cardio, they hid it from us in the books, you provided the audio.